Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are super excited to be here presenting you the AI agents for workplace service delivery and just spending some time with you today talking through them. So before we get started, and as always, just want to put our safe harbor slide right here. We will be talking about our AI investment team. So as you all know, those are subject to change. It might change going forward. So just wanted to add that here. And a few housekeeping items that I want to go through before we get started is that we have some time in the end for Q&A. So if you have any questions, feel free to use the Q&A button instead of the chat, and we'll get to your questions either throughout the webinar and some we might address at the end. Another thing to keep in mind is that this presentation will be recorded for this event, and you will be able to find it on our community site a week from today. So if you want to go back to it or share it with a colleague, it should become available in a week from now. And then lastly, after this event, you will be prompted with a short feedback survey. We would really appreciate if you can take just a couple of minutes to fill it out and just share with us how can we improve, what other topics would you like to learn from, and anything else you want to share. We always like to hear from you. Today, I'm joined by Elizabeth, who is a senior outbound product manager for workplace service delivery. Elizabeth will be presenting along with me today. Myself, for those of you who have not met me, I'm Paulina, and I'm an outbound PM for WSD as well. Now, if you want to, stay up to date with any future events on live on ServiceNow or want to see what's going on, feel free to just schedule the QR code on the screen to see the schedule and see what all webinars are coming up for WSD and the rest of the products. Today, we have an agenda where we will first start talking about how to work with AI. So we all keep on hearing, AI agents, and there's just a lot of information. So we just want to give some context and provide some introduction as to how we see AI here at WSD. Then we'll talk about our AI agents. And then as promised, we have some time saved at the end of this webinar for a Q&A. Now, to get us started, I wanted to put this poll here. So I'm going to go ahead and trigger it for you all to just respond and share with us what is the biggest challenge your organization faces whenever you think of an AI integration. We would just like to hear from you as to what are the main challenges you're seeing. I see some have started to respond. Yeah, lack of expertise is one where I can resonate because there's so much information available with AI nowadays that it can get overwhelming. Awesome. We'll just leave it for a few more seconds and then we can move on. Okay. I will now pass it to Elizabeth, who is going to walk us through how to work with AI.
Thank you very much, Paulina. And a lot of great insights from everyone there, mentioning lack of expertise. We won't be able to explain the whole concept of AI today, but what we really want to do is make sure you understand the relevance of AI specifically to the workplace, and then how are we evolving that? How are we investing in AI specifically to the product that we cater for in workplace service delivery? So understanding how to work in AI then goes into different directions. So if we just move to the next slide, is understanding that today we are in the AI revolution. That's not something new that you've probably seen everywhere. Every solution today has AI, which promises to be great, which promises to have organizations really automate a lot of the work, make sure they're providing the best experiences out there. But that also comes with a lot new AI models, new AI agents, new AI applications, making sure that all of this can then be used for smarter models, more efficiency within the organization. But this could a lot of the time be paralyzing for a lot of organizations, not understanding really where to start from. How do I look at AI? How should I be looking into AI use cases, how can I really relate that to my business? And a lot of the time, the different solutions that each organization is using leads to a lot of different AIs from different platforms, which creates that kind of disconnected experience. Having AIs throughout different tools, which promise to provide great experience. However, this is really disconnected using it throughout the different platforms. So if we look into this, it really makes us go into a fragmented way of, instead of going to transformation, we're really going into more fragmentation, really understanding how we can turn our organization from an automated way of working through different applications, different user experiences that we can provide. AI is everywhere to optimize those experiences. However, what we're seeing is this is creating more and more silos. So making sure that every part of the organization has access to AI through different tools is really fragmenting the organization as it's making them work in more and more silos. So the way ServiceNow is looking into building this really solid foundation ground is making sure that we provide an actual platform to kind of consolidate this AI experience. So AI is not only the data that you put in there, you've probably heard that a lot of understanding, depending on the data that you input, you'll get a good quality data in return. It's also really taking into account the platform piece of it, making sure that you're driving your AI strategy on a strong platform that is really designed for this, to be able to really assimilate all the different parts of the organization. So then if we look at what is ServiceNow providing as a general AI platform, is really making sure that over the past years, you've known that ServiceNow is breaking down those silos, even from an automation perspective, understanding how we can work cross-departmental. So we're having different workflows that go from IT across to HR, across to customer services, across to the workplace, across to health and safety, making sure that each department can actually work together within one unified platform. And this is really bringing that next era of AI. We're making sure that not providing those silos, because the information, the data is key to help work across the entire platform. So ServiceNow really looks at providing a really built solution to provide this AI experience. So if we just move on to the next slide, is providing that single location for everything, working across industries, so making it available for any purpose industries throughout there, so ready to go depending on your organization and industry you're in. The tool is built specifically to cater for your different requirements. Any AI, so making sure that you are able to connect any AI throughout your organization. You could be using different products which has their own AI capabilities, making sure all of this can come together through one single stream of data. Making sure that throughout all of this, an AI control tower is put in place to really be able to govern, manage, and optimize all the AI initiatives. Making sure that the AI strategy and program that you're putting in place is compliant. Making sure that you have the whole governance of the strategy that you're putting in place. Looking at this, we can also go into any kind of workflow, making sure that you can create any kind of agent to really automate and make sure repetitive tasks can be created in a more efficient way. Having agents kind of automate all of that, look at the right data, look at the right investments of how can you optimize your organization day after day. All of this works on any cloud, so making sure that this is purpose-built for any business that is on public, private, or hybrid cloud. And then finally, making sure that we can integrate with any system. So that really comes back to not only breaking down the silos on throughout your organization, making sure IT works with HR, works with workplace, works with customer services, making sure you have a single line across the organization, so breaking down those silos, but also making sure that you can integrate with any other AI that you are utilizing throughout your organization, which could be throughout different products that you might have. So this is really the foundation of the AI platform that is on ServiceNow. So what I'm going to do now is just hand it over to Paulina to really, now we're going to go deeper into workplace service delivery. What AI capabilities do we offer? What is our vision? What is our strategy? How are we bringing more automation, delivering more agents, delivering more capabilities through this specific product?
Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you so much for sharing that introduction with us. I will now go ahead and share a little bit about how we're thinking of AI for workplace service delivery. And the way that we're seeing this is through three main investment areas for AI. The first one being the conversational AI. So I think we're all mostly familiar with this type of AI where you have some chat interface and you make your requests and then the AI will respond to you, fulfilling those requests. And so we're also thinking about the conversational AI for two of our main personas. One, the employee, who should be able to get a personal assistance for all their workplace needs, make the reservations, register their guests, how to get to a specific spot in the workplace, etc. So really simplifying the experience that they get out of their workplace. And then we are also thinking of our workplace manager through Workplace Advisor, which will provide the workplace managers, facility managers, that type of persona, the interactive insights and analytics to make real-time decisions. So really thinking of supporting these two personas through conversational AI. The second investment theme that we have is the AI agent workflows. So another one that's very popular, we all keep hearing, this AI agent and what they do, what are their capabilities. But what we're aiming to do with our AI agents is to just automate any tasks that are pretty much part of our routine, any repetitive tasks that just take time out of our employees or even admins in their day-to-day lives, to then find a way to optimize it and ultimately solve for them in the situation. So we're thinking of workplace coordinator agents. So basically, front and back office tasks, maintenance agents. So optimizing cleaning schedules, which is something that we have live as of now, very exciting one, and just preventive maintenance tasks as well. And then we have map agents, which is something that as well we have some investment live on it now as well. And it's we know it's a big time saving solution. So we're really excited about these agents that we are working towards and super excited for what's to come as well. And then lastly, as part of our investment teams, we have our AI first mindset. And this is something that we're starting to implement and even think of whenever we are designing a new feature, which basically means that any product feature that gets shipped should have some sort of AI integrated into it to make it even better, to enhance it, to make it more productive, more valuable, etc. So part of this AI first mindset is the AI driven user experiences. So as I was saying, just designing experiences that will be more proactive and will be more helpful and productive for those who use them. Then the second part of this AI first mindset is using data, using more data as an asset, pretty much. And like what Elizabeth was saying earlier, on how depending on the quality of the data that you put into any AI model will be the output that you receive, is something that we're really putting focus on and making sure that the data that we are using for these features and to create any new feature can be as valuable as possible to then ultimately get a valuable output. And then lastly, and one that I find pretty exciting personally, is just the continuous learning, which is basically embedding learning loops into an AI model. And based on the user input, they'll start to remember basically what the user prefers, their preferences, where in example, like an employee, where do they like to sit? So they'll start remembering these kind of things through learning, and they'll be able to suggest even better experiences. So I think that's very fascinating and super excited that Workplace is taking a step towards that. But since this webinar is about our agents, I just wanted to drill in a little bit more into them. And I just wanted to share that we are currently working on developing more highly capable agents that will be representing, or that already represent actually, because we have 4 live agents, but they'll represent core areas of our products. So as we can see on the screen, we're thinking of 3 main personas that usually have very different tasks or responsibilities to complete within the workplace. So thinking of the employee experience, adding agents that can support their routine, that can support responses, reservation suggestions, just like I was saying, being able to make it easier for them to interact with their workplace and reduce that friction. Then the workplace coordinator supporting them with agents that will, take care of the cases, the reservations from the coordination standpoint, any services added to these reservations, the visitor management experience, and any scheduling that needs to take place. These agents will be there to support that effort that the workplace coordinators usually face. And then lastly, we're also solving for the space planner persona, who is someone who would usually need to evaluate the usage of the space that they have available and then make decisions based on that. So supporting with space administration, file updates, like we were saying, with indoor mapping, Map Studio, and then HR info handler. So just really trying to find alternatives and ways and solutions to support these different personas and meet them where they are in their role. To elaborate a little bit more on all the workplace agents that we have, we can also talk about the different ones. As I was saying earlier, they serve a different role, a different persona, but this is basically a more expanded list of everything that they would do. So, as we can see, for example, the case manager would understand the type of case that it's been received and then will update with work notes. The reservation manager, for example, will locate spaces and then update reservations based on preferences. So we can see how all of these agents really support different roles and ultimately makes these tasks that they need to perform better and improve them. So I think, oh, I see there was a question. It's already answered. But I want to make a pause here. I just want to check in with everyone if there's any questions from what I've shared so far, from our investment team to the workplace agents that we're thinking of. Would also love to hear in the chat. Feel free to share, what agent are you most excited to see or would make, your organization better or could add more value. Just curious to see what kind of theme is most valuable or interesting to you. But while you do that, I will go ahead and share the agents that we have live as of
What I
now.
would also add, Paulina, sorry for cutting you. What I would also be interested in understanding is, are you looking more at the AI perspective of catering the experience to your employees, so making sure that your employees have access to AI, so in hand in their day-to-day life, we've been able to optimize the way they make requests and really simplify it for them, from them, or have more delivered to them? Or are you looking at more from the lens of how can you optimize the work from your facility team, your reservation managers, your space planners, kind of remove some of those repetitive tasks? So really understanding what angle are you kind of looking today at AI, if you already started looking into the topic, would be interesting for us.
Yes, no, I would agree. It's really interesting to see what type of persona do you see will benefit most maybe from using AI. And it doesn't have to be AI agents. We have different types. So just curious to hear from you all. But with that, I will move on to share the agents that we have live as of now. So in our May release, we had our first two AI agents. We talked about them when we did our What's New webinar. There's even a vlog on them. So if any of you are interested in learning more about it, we can link that on the chat. But basically, the first agent that we released is to help manage workplace reservations. And basically, what this agent does is to support any employee who needs to make changes to an existing reservation. So let's say someone wants to schedule a meeting room to host an event or even a bigger meeting, and they have registered guests into said meeting. They have added services such as catering, seating arrangements, etc. And then they realize that the people that they have invited can no longer attend on that date. So they need to make an update to the reservation. Priorly, they would first need to do this all manually. So the employee would have to go ahead and kind of like reschedule, make updates to the reservation, make the changes, and figure out if there's going to be availability in that space that they have initially booked. But now, with the use of this AI agent, the reservation update would be assigned to the workplace team, and the workplace team would work with the agent to find an alternative space if in case that's no longer available, or to simply relocate that meeting if it needs to be changed. So basically, the workplace team would receive the case of the update from the employee. And then what would happen is that they would take that case, the agent would take that case to them, and they would interact with the agent on a chat-based form, just like we can see here on the screen, where they'll be provided with options for relocation. They'll be provided with options even if the catering is no longer available. What else can be offered instead? Seating arrangements, etc. So it will really guide the workplace team to solve this reservation update in the most seamless way, while at the same time providing updates to the employee who made this change request. So another really cool thing about our AI agents is that they will take work notes. And then basically with these work notes, they will post them on the case itself. So the admin side of the team can see it, but the employee will also be notified of these steps that it's taken. So it's just a really cool way to keep everyone involved, communicate with every stakeholder into the process, and just reduce any effort as well as any errors that could happen for very important events. So this is our first agent, which is the workplace reservations. I will now share about our managed temporary space closures agent. And this one's also really exciting. It came out in May as well, and it is there to support the workplace team as well. So the way that this agent works is if an employee needs to submit an emergency maintenance request, or they just raise a maintenance request in general in the workplace, saying, for example, I don't know, some chair is broken in a meeting room and now it can no longer fit the amount of people that it was initially intended for. An employee can go ahead and raise that request, and then the workplace team would receive it, and they would again work with the AI agent to find another alternative for that space. First, the AI agent will ask the workplace team, hey, how long do you think this location will be impacted for? And this is a really great time-saving opportunity, because priorly the workplace team would most likely need to go and maybe even send someone to inspect that specific location and see, okay, what's going on here? How much time will it take to solve this? So now with the AI agent connecting to a workplace team member, this can be streamlined and just basically facilitated in general. So then once the workplace team member provides the time of days that this location should be unavailable for, the AI agent will go ahead and check if there were any reservations tied to that space. In case there were any reservations tied to that space, the workplace, the agent will go ahead and offer options to relocate such reservations. So it will give options of, you can move on this meeting that was scheduled for this space to this other day or to this other space. And that will also carry on with any added services that the reservation had. So again, a really easy way to solve for this type of situations that can happen pretty much every day and multiple times in the workplace. We all know how simple it is for something to stop working all of a sudden. And then when people had plans on using a space and they were relying on that space for important meetings or just gatherings, this can really represent some time saving opportunity. So very excited about this agent as well. And what I would like to go ahead and do now is just share with you how it works. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and you all can let me know whenever you can see it. So I'm sharing it now.
Yeah, we can see your instance.
Awesome. Perfect. And so the way that this would work, like I was mentioning, I'll just start by, being an employee who finds there's something wrong in their workplace. So if that's the case, as an employee, you can log any case or report any emergency maintenance through the employee center. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do right now. As you all can see, it logged me out, but let me just quickly go ahead and be an employee. So anyways, the employee enters the employee center and they can see the option for maintenance, where they will be provided with different maintenance options. So we can see here we have the submit an emergency maintenance request. In here, the employee would have to go ahead and pretty much detail everything that needs attention and the specific location of this area. So I will just go ahead and say building A is where the situation arises. And then you can decide which floor, the meeting room is at. And then if you go ahead and share the name of the meeting room exactly, that way the workplace team will be able to identify it and then eventually block it. So description of the issue, we can just say broken screen and missing shares. And this is everything that would take from the employee to submit the request. As we can see, a workplace case now has been created, and this would go directly to the workplace team. So I'm going to go ahead and share how that would look like from the workplace team perspective. And just 1 second. Okay. So basically what would happen is that the workplace team gets this case, right? And then once this case is received, they would ideally assign it to a team member from either the workplace team. I know some other customers handle this as the event planning team. However it may be, this is a place where they would go ahead and assign it. So I'm going to assign this case to Caitlin. And then if we scroll down here, we can also get details as to what is the area that needs attention, what is the issue that's going on, and then lastly, the comments and work notes. So this is the part that I was referring to earlier, where the AI agent will share the notes of each step that it took. So if I go ahead and update this, now that it has been assigned, and I impersonate Caitlin, who was the workplace team member that got assigned to this case, we would be able to see how the Now Assist icon, which is right here on top of the screen, will give her a notification. So let me just go ahead and refresh this so it loads. While it does this, I'm just going to open it in another browser because sometimes it can be slow. So just give me 1 second. Okay, let me know if you can see the screen. It seems like it loaded quicker here.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, like I was sharing, Caitlin, who is a team member that got assigned to this case, will receive a notification on their Now Assist. And as we can see, it quickly updates the case. It says how this case was raised for an emergency maintenance request. It also specifies the location, and it also shares what the issue entails, right? So you can see how it's a broken screen and missing chairs. This is where the agent would ask the employee or the team member, how long is this room expected to be unavailable? So as we know, maybe the broken screen and missing chairs will take a few days to be replaced. So we can just say maybe around 5 days. And then this is when the AI agent would go ahead and look at what is needed to do next. So in this step is where the AI agent looks for any other reservations. The AI agent looks for any other reservations. And then if there's no other reservations, they would then go ahead and close the case if there's no reservations. If there were reservations, what would happen then would be that the AI agent needs to relocate those and move the services as I shared. So this will be the managing space, temporary space closures, this agent. And I will now want to share the one for, I know we're at time, so I want to share the one for the indoor mapping. I will go through the agents that we just released now in September. This one I'm super excited about. If any of you were part of our What's New webinar for the Q3 release, we walked through the indoor mapping bulk updates. And so for any of you who are familiar with having to make updates to the maps or going through that process, you would know how time consuming it used to be. But as of our latest Q3 release, we have now a feature that allows map admins to bulk upload different files at the same time to make minor updates in already configured files. And in addition to support that experience, we added an AI agent that will support troubleshooting a very common error that our customers face, and that is the source file identification. Basically, what the source file identification error means is that if a customer wants to update a map that they had initially set up or configured into their map studio with a certain naming convention, but then that later on that naming convention changes, when uploading the updated file, that would not be a match. It would cause an error that would require the map admin's intervention to solve this. So that's why we thought of adding this AI agent to even make that process even smoother. So with the new AI agent, what will happen is that even if a file is uploaded with a different naming convention, the AI agent will go ahead and look for a close match to an existing file that has already been configured. And once it's matched, the process will complete. So it will go ahead with the import process and it will go through all the other steps, just as like the georeference configuration, setup job, etc. And then it will finally complete the import process, meaning that the maps will be updated. So we're very excited about this AI agent. It really represents a big time saving opportunity for those who work with maps on a daily basis. I remember in that webinar, some of our customers were mentioning that they update maps like on a weekly or daily basis, which I thought was a great opportunity for them to start saving some time with this new feature and now agent. And I will go ahead and show you how that looks like. Just 1 second. So you all can tell me when you see my screen.
We currently still sitting in the slide.
Okay, perfect. Can you see it now?
We can just see your search bar.
Oh, 1 second. That's strange. Let me just share my desktop instead. Is that better?
Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. So the way that this agent would work is whenever a change needs to be made into a map. Like we said, any updates that need to happen for an already configured map, this is a place where they would go. They would go into Map Studio. And as I was sharing, this is the new feature that we added in Q3 where you can bulk update maps. So if I go in here and click on bulk update maps, I can start naming the import that I want to create now. So October updates 2025. One really cool thing about this feature is that now you can notify the user, meaning the map admin or whoever is taking care of the import process, once it's done running and once it's been completed. This is, again, a very useful tool because priorly they would need to just be very involved in the process and being around, making sure that they would click on the next step. And like I said, it's just a lot of involvement that now can be avoided. So I will go ahead and click here on notify user. And then the next step would be to upload our maps. So if I go ahead and choose desktop, and then I look for my maps, I can see, for example, that I have these files and we have some naming conventions, right? So basically what would happen is if I add a file here and I want to do maybe, I want to change the name of this file. So I want to do October import. I'll just do October. And then let's say we change another name just for the AI agent to work on trying to change them. I will upload these two. And then once we upload them and attach them, they will appear up here. So as we can see, the files have been attached. And now if we click on save, a new table will populate below where we will see the option to start the import. Here we will be able to see the two files that we added, and it's important to note here that we can add more than two files. We can add as many files as we would like to update at a time. That's the whole purpose of the bulk import. Here I just decided to do two for time purposes, but if I go ahead and click on one of the imports, we can see how the AI agent is currently working right now. The state is saying waiting AI input, and we can see that the first error has appeared and how it says that there's no sources found for the input file. Here, as you can see, I'm not doing anything on my screen. It's just the AI agent who is working on the back to find a match to the file that I just loaded. And as you can see, it's now the state changed to work in progress. If we see here, we can see that the step is now an import, but it was changing into georeferences. So it's going through all the steps once the agent has identified a match. And we can see now that the state is close complete. So if I go ahead and refresh this, We can see all the steps that the AI agent took as work notes in order to solve this issue and complete the import. So you can see how at first it was not identified, then how it identified a best match, and it was set to start the import. It found the source, and then the rest of the steps got completed. So it's a really cool addition to the initial experience that we had with bulk imports, because we know how different maps can have different naming conventions, and this is just a way to not stop the process but just keep it going without any hiccups. And here we can see that it now moved on to the next import, where we can see it's saying waiting on AI input. So it's going through the source retrieval once again, and it should be able to find it. It's just looking and seeing if there's any close match from a file that has been previously uploaded. So it will follow the same process as the previously did. And again, it will just update the work notes based on what steps it took in order to solve it. For other errors, the workplace team member that got assigned, or the map admin who is working on this agent, would get notified, and then it would require their input. But for any source, meaning file naming conventions, the AI agent will take care of it. I will now move on and share our last agent. Hope you all can see now my PowerPoint presentation. Are you able to see it?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Perfect. So I will now go ahead and share the last agent that we have as of our latest release, which is optimized cleaning activities. So this one is really helpful for those workplace admins, facility managers that just want to identify which cleaning tasks and which activities that need to happen on a regular basis in the workplace could be optimized. And they can be optimized for many reasons, but the two main parameters that our agent takes into consideration are the amount of reservations that are being scheduled for a specific location, and also the amount of visitor registrations. So, taking these two factors into account, the AI agent will determine the utilization rate of the space and compare it to how it's been utilized in some other occasions and within a similar amount of, visitor or reservation volume. And so once it has identified that rate, it will go through some threshold. So basically, if the amount of usage that the space will have based on the reservations and registrations meets it's under that threshold, then it will make no changes. But if it's above that, then it might add some new cleaning activities. It might need to add more cleaning tasks into the schedule. So this is how the agent would work. The output of this agent would not be any message as such or anything. It would more be the cases that get created after it has been analyzing how to optimize the different cleaning activities. So basically, for one day, the AI agent might determine that due to higher volume, it needs to create more cases. So that will be the output of the agent. It will automatically create those cases to take care of that extra, usage in the workplace. Meanwhile, in some other days, when it determines that the utilization is not as high, or it's not going to be as high, less cases will be created, and that will be the agent's output after analyzing that maybe not so many cases are needing for that specific day. So it will all depend on how the threshold is being set. But again, a really helpful addition to the experiences that we already have to really analyze what kind of usage the workplace is getting and just optimize the activities that happen around that. So with that, I want to share one poll just to get to know what are you most excited about within the future of AI in the workplace. This doesn't have to be a specific, agent. It's just different types of value statements that the AI could add into the workplace. Okay, awesome. It's really great to see. Some people are saying that they're interested in increased productivity. Feel like that's a great use case of AI in general, as well as AI agents, of course, that handle the repetitive tasks. And then I'm also seeing enhanced decision making. So it goes back to the data part that we were talking about earlier, and how with better data, maybe we could make better decisions. So it's a really exciting thing that we can work on. And then I also see some boats around employee experiences. So I'm really excited about this one in particular because I feel like AI can really add value to the employee experience that we have and that we know today. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this poll. And that's pretty much everything that we have for today. I know we have a placeholder here, but I've already shared two of the agents that we wanted to discuss today. I just want to take a moment to see if there's any questions.
Well,
Do
I'd
we?
like to add, Paulina, because I've been answering a few of the chat questions, quite great insights in there in terms of use cases that customers are thinking about. So I just
Mhm.
want to say, as a product team, what we're looking at is having these conversations with these different organizations, making sure that we're investing in the right areas, making sure we're delivering the right agents out of the box. So if anyone is interested in sharing more in detail, kind of how are they seeing AI, how are they working on what are the repetitive tasks that they're seeing in their organization today with workplace, feel free to get in touch with Paulina or I. We'd love to have that conversation and also working on kind of building that community today of WSD users that are also going in that direction of including embedding AI into the entire experience, whether employee experience focus side, but also on that more back end facility team space planners. How can we really optimize some of that with AI? So if you've got any specific use cases, want to learn more in detail, how are we planning, what's coming next, feel free to just message us and we'll be happy to share.
Agree. We would definitely be interested in just hearing how are you thinking of AI? We all know that even though it's something that everyone is talking about nowadays, this may look different, or the use cases that everyone needs might be different. So we're super excited to just hear where you're at, how are you thinking of AI, and how can, WSD can support those use cases ultimately. So this is some slide with some important information on any training and certification, expert services, and then ServiceNow Impact that can just provide you some more resources in case you need them.
Going back to that impact, if you have impact, they're a great resource in having that initial conversation of understanding I'm a mess right now. I've got a load of AI. My organization is thinking AI. How do I get started? What resources can I use? How can I have a unified experience for the entire platform? They can really help you kind of get a bigger understanding of the specific products, maybe that you should focus on how you could create that experience, but how can you really build that strategy and then also at the same time make sure that you're building that governance around AI through the different integrations that you might have if you're using different platforms. We do strongly recommend using leveraging them to have those conversations to really get that foundational part started.
Thank you all for joining us today. We were super excited to share this topic with you all, and we hope that you found it helpful. And if there's any questions, like Elizabeth was saying, please feel free to reach out to us whenever you need anything.